All right, welcome everyone. My name is Monica Geraci, and I want to thank you for joining us for this special webinar on the economic impact of outdoor recreation across the country. This was made possible by the Bureau of Economic Analysis Outdoor Recreation Satellite Account, commonly referred to as ORSA. We are lucky enough to be joined today by Stas Rzeznick. Stas is an economist in the Regional Directorate at the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the group responsible for the state breakdown of the ORSA data. In addition to working on the outdoor recreation satellite accounts, Stas is part of the team that produces BEA's regional economic impact tool called RVing. He will walk us through the new data, particularly what it means for the RV industry. But before we hear from Stas, Ashley Brinkman from the RV Industry Association is going to give you a brief history on how this study came to be, as well as how our state and federal teams use these numbers to further the policy priorities of the RV industry. On a housekeeping note, the line is currently muted. If you have a question during the presentation, please type it into the chat box. At the end of the presentation, we will unmute the line for additional live questions. And with that, I'll toss it over to Ashley to get us started.
Thanks, Monica. I just want to reiterate, how excited we are to be joined by Stas from BEA. He'll help us better understand how the federal government has determined the RV industry's unique economic contribution to the outdoor recreation sector. So for a quick background here, before this ORSA report, there was no data from the federal government on the size of the outdoor recreation economy. With the ORSA report, that all changed. We now have federal data on the size and scope of outdoor recreation, not only at the federal level, but also at the state level. And this report was made possible because of the successful passage of the Outdoor Recreation Jobs and Economic Impact Act of 2016, commonly referred to as the REC Act. This was a bill that many of you may remember asking Congress to support during Advocacy Day in 2016. Thanks to your efforts, along with those of our government affairs team and support from the RV caucus, this bill became law. And having the government recognize for the first time the massive contributions of the outdoor recreation industry to the overall national economy was also significant in another way. It really brought our individual outdoor recreation industry groups together to form the Outdoor Recreation Roundtable, ORR. And ORR is America's premier coalition of outdoor recreation trade associations. It's made up of 29 members, the RV Industry Association being one, representing the interests of over 100,000 American businesses. The initial national numbers were released in September in 2018. And although the national numbers are great to have, the RV Industry Association and other industry groups in ORR worked closely with Congress to secure additional funds to have those numbers broken down by state. And we're beginning to see the fruits of our labor now. Preliminary state-level economic data was released for the first time earlier this year, as well as updated national numbers. But what do all these numbers mean for us? How does the industry use all of these numbers? Well, having federal government data showing the significant impact of the RV industry and other outdoor recreation industries to the nation's economy really help legitimize and support what our industries have been saying for years. We are quality job creators and a backbone of rural economies across America. These numbers support our federal policy initiatives like campground modernization and infrastructure improvement. When we're on Capitol Hill talking to legislators, we aren't just coming in asking for support on our issues. We're able to point to the economic impact we're providing, not only to the nation's economy, but also to their individual state. It's telling that although outdoor recreation is larger than industries like mining, farming, and utilities, historically outdoor recreation has had nowhere near the level of clout these other industries do on Capitol Hill. And we're already seeing that change, and it's directly connected to these ORSA numbers supporting our strong association federal policy efforts. These numbers have given us a platform on which to undertake a large-scale education campaign for members of Congress and their staff. And the results this year have been really impressive. 8 House and Senate committee hearings on outdoor recreation. never before has outdoor recreation received that level of attention from Congress. And this momentum is building, and it's really pivotal to achieving our policy goals, especially of enacting an outdoor recreation package. And for those wondering, what's an outdoor recreation package? Well, our goal is to really have a reoccurring bill solely focused on addressing the needs of the outdoor recreation industry. And this is similar to how the agriculture industry has a farm bill, and every few years they regularly reassess their top priorities and needed policy changes with the federal government. But these numbers have not only been critical to our efforts here in DC. Now with these new state-level economic numbers for outdoor recreation, we can easily identify the industries that are vital to specific state economies, like the RV industry in Indiana and Iowa in particular, and work with policymakers to best support and grow our industry in these states and beyond. The RV Industry Association is leading the effort in Indiana and Iowa in 2020 to create an Office of Outdoor Recreation Industry, also called an OREC office. And that's a division within the state government, like economic development or like the Department of Natural Resources, that reports to the governor of the state with the mission to promote the growth of the outdoor recreation economy. And these offices create significant opportunities for outdoor recreation businesses, especially RV businesses, to grow and expand in new areas of the country. And I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on the importance of the RV industry as part of this larger outdoor recreation industry. The RV industry is a significant part of the outdoor recreation economy. You'll hear from Stas from BEA, who will show us what exactly that looks like across the U.S. and some points of interest from their extensive research. And while this report contains many invaluable insights, there's one takeaway that bears repeating. The outdoor recreation industry has earned its seat at the decision-making table. Policymakers are beginning to recognize the importance of our sector, in part thanks to these numbers. So with that, I'd like to introduce Stas Rzeznick. Take it away, Stas.
Well, thank you very much. As I was introduced already, I'll repeat. My name is Stas Rzeznick, and I work in BEA's Regional Directorate and worked on the Outdoor Recreation Satellite account. I'd like to thank you for inviting me to speak today and hope that I will provide some insight to you all on the outdoor recreation economy. In today's presentation, I will go over the National Outdoor Recreation Satellite Account results, some background on the regional methodology that we used, the regional results and some uses of the data, and at the end we'll have time for questions. So for the update to the Outdoor Recreation Satellite Account, new to the national tables, we have new value added by activity tables. As a reminder, value added is equivalent to GDP and is roughly a measure of sales less raw material costs. We've also incorporated the new 2018 comprehensive update, which brought in new data, especially new data from the 2012 economic census, which is one of the most detailed sources of economic data produced by the federal government. And finally, we updated source data for government agency spending on outdoor recreation. Outdoor recreation at the nominal outdoor recreation, which is GDP, or the nominal outdoor recreation value added, which is GDP, as a share of total U.S. GDP is 2.2%. That 2.2% is a nominal value added of $427 billion. The nominal gross output for sales, roughly, is $778 billion. In that, we have compensation of $213 billion and 5.2 million jobs. And this is for outdoor recreation as a whole, of which RV is a part. looking at that 2.2% and putting it in context, I compared it with some other sectors of the economy. So as we see on the left, the outdoor recreation economy is 2.2%. This is larger than the mining sector, the utility sector, and the chemical products sector. It's on par with the broadcasting and telecommunications sector, which is also 2.2% of the U.S. economy in 2017. Now, some of you might be thinking, what is outdoor recreation exactly? How did we measure it? So BEA, along with some outside feedback, divided outdoor recreation into 3 parts. The sum of those 3 parts, total outdoor recreation, is that 2.2% number that I cited. The 3 subparts there are conventional core recreation, other core outdoor recreation, and supporting activities for outdoor recreation. The conventional core outdoor recreation is where RVing is located. I have that circled on the slide. And that places it in the same category as bicycling, boating and fishing, climbing, recreational flying, and the other activities that are really what people traditionally think of as outdoor recreation activities. The other core outdoor recreation activities are more general activities that people do outside. So that includes amusement parks, outdoor festivals and concerts, game areas such as golf courses, and then activities that people just do outside like gardening. Finally, we split off support activities like travel and tourism spending, the spending for restaurants that you consume when you go on an outdoor recreation trip. Construction and government spending is in that supporting category. Those are the things that allow you to do your outdoor activities, because when you go someplace to go RVing, you might want to visit a federal park, and without those supporting activities, there really would be less demand for the outdoor activities because the facilities and support wouldn't be there. Finally, I should mention that we've put all of the multi-use apparel and accessories, the things that the gear that we couldn't assign to a specific outdoor activity, into its own category that we call multi-use apparel and accessories. And those are things such as coolers, where we know they're associated with outdoor recreation, but we weren't sure exactly which category they fit in, or they could be used for multiple categories, and it would be double counting if we included all of them. Comparing RVing to other conventional core activities, that first box on the left on the previous slide, and excluding the multi-use gear, RVing is the second largest activity after boating fishing, and about 2/3 bigger than the next largest activity, which is motorcycling and ATVing. That's all-terrain vehicles. Now, this number here is RVing as an activity. So it's a broader definition than just RV manufacturing. RVing as an activity is a broad constellation of activities, goods, and services that are associated with the use of an RV. So therefore, it includes not just the RV, but maintenance expenses, fuel costs, campgrounds, and other spending that occurs when using the RV. Pivoting to look at the regional side of things, moving from the national perspective, we have new regional outdoor recreation data that was introduced earlier this year. These data include prototype statistics for 2012 to 2017, the same years that we have U.S. level data for. We also have state level estimates for nominal value added by activity and by industry, value added being GDP. And then we have compensation by industry and employment by industry. When distributing RVing and other activities to states, we had to establish some guidelines for how we would distribute these. Most importantly, outdoor recreation uses a production-based approach. That is, outdoor recreation is measured by place of production, not the residence of the consumer. So looking at goods, state RVing for goods is the value of the factory that produces the RV located where that factory is located, but it splits off the markup or profit of an RV dealer to locate that profit where the RV dealer is located. So that might be that the RV production takes place in Indiana, but the dealer is in Pennsylvania. So we would put those two values in separate states. Services are allocated to the location where the service is provided. So in this case, the location of campground services or repair services would be allocated to the state where those campgrounds are located or where those garages are located. Finally, for the value of imported goods, the value is excluded, but the services of the retailer selling those goods is included. So given a $100 RV tire, the tire store's $40 profit or markup on that tire is included in outdoor recreation economy. But the $60 value of the tire, the manufactured cost of that tire, would not be excluded because that cost would be allocated to a foreign producer and not within the scope of our U.S. outdoor recreation economy. And unveiling the state-level data, the first slide that we have on the state-level data, this is a map of each state's share of the outdoor recreation economy's employment. And remember in the beginning we said that outdoor recreation employment was 5.2 million jobs. This slide shows where those 5.2 million jobs are located. We see here that California, or maybe depending on the slide's resolution, California is 11.4% of the U.S. outdoor recreation employment. That's about $600,000 jobs. That's 600,000 jobs. California being the largest economy in the United States, it has a lot of these outdoor recreation jobs. And the other states that are in the dark orange are also states that are in the top quintile, the top fifth of states by number of outdoor recreation jobs located in that state. Altering our map a little bit, we show the share of each state's jobs associated with outdoor recreation. And you might notice that the color pattern changes quite a bit. In California, a very large state economy, its 600,000 jobs in outdoor recreation are only 3.3% of all jobs in the state. However, if we look at Wyoming, which is one of the dark orange states, 8% of its jobs are related to outdoor recreation. That's about 1 in 12 jobs. So we can see that outdoor recreation jobs are a large share of jobs in Wyoming. We also see that outdoor recreation jobs are a significant part of total jobs in the other Mountain West states, in Alaska and Hawaii, Florida, and the New England states. Now, RVing, the activity, which is probably what you're most interested in and probably know a lot more than I do about, is highly concentrated in Indiana. Of all RV-related value added, which is, again, GDP, 17% is located in Indiana, mostly manufacturing. Other states, such as California or Texas or Florida, are also significant states in the RVing activity measured by value added. But since this is an activity measurement, not a not only the RV manufacturing, but all of the other services that go along with it, goods and services that go along with it. These other states might contribute in ways other than just manufacturing. So we might have fuel production in Texas contributing to Texas's RV value added. And California might have campgrounds that also contribute to the RVing value added share for that state. These states are not necessarily just showing you the value of RV manufacturing, because this is our activity-based measurement. And RVing is also a rather concentrated activity. We can see that the top 5 states that we have on our pie chart, Indiana, California, Texas, Florida, and Ohio, are a little bit less than half of the total. All of the other states are 56% of the total. Looking at Indiana more specifically, our data show that 30% of the state's outdoor economy came from RVing. Again, this is due in large part to the RV manufacturing industry. Indiana was one of 9 states where RVing was the largest conventional activity. And the next slide, I've selected a few states. Some of these are also ones where it's the largest economy. And here I'm showing you some of the depth of information that's available in our state-level outdoor data. I picked these states in part because they are Western states that are often associated with RVing. So of these, 2 of these states, Arizona and Idaho, also have RVing as their largest conventional activity. So for Arizona, we can see that one of the shaded blue squares is the RVing industry at 4.7% of that state's outdoor recreation economy is RVing. For Idaho, it was a higher share at 7.2%, and in both of these states, it was the largest conventional outdoor activity. Utah was on par with the U.S. share of RVing at 4%. So 4% of that state's outdoor recreation economy was RVing related. In Colorado, RVing was the second largest conventional activity, just as in the U.S. rankings. But snow activities displaced the U.S. #1 activity of boating, because snow activities are really a significant piece of Colorado's outdoor recreation economy. Lastly, we see that Nevada matched the U.S. rankings with boating as the top conventional activity, and RVing is the second largest activity. So in Nevada, the ordering of the size of the conventional outdoor recreation activities matched the U.S. So I hope this is a good overview of the types of data that we have available on outdoor recreation. And as I mentioned, these data are available by activity, but also by industry and So you can look at the compensation by industry, the employment by industry, and the nominal value added by industry, but also by activity, which is what we've been focusing on mostly here. That ends my prepared presentation. I'm happy to answer questions that you might have now. If you think of anything later on, feel free to contact me at the contact information you can see on the slide. That phone number is my direct line if you wish to call me. Otherwise, you can send an email to our outdoorrecreation@bea.gov email account, and I'll be happy to answer that from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stas. That was very informative. So for questions, I have a few here. So if you guys have any questions, participants, if you want to type them into the chat box, and then I will unmute the line shortly so that you can ask them live as well. But I wanted to start with, can you explain how these are the state numbers are prototype numbers, and how, like, what feedback you're looking for, and is there any way the industry can help you with the prototype status of the state numbers?
So yes, these are the prototype numbers. This is the first year we've produced state-level estimates, and we're looking for feedback from the general public and from industry on what they feel the numbers are useful for, where they feel that we could improve the estimates, and what they'd like to see going forward. So it's generally an open conversation that we would like to have with our customers about the new numbers, and allow us to improve them going forward.
Excellent. And they should just reach out at that same email address?
Correct.
Okay. Where can people access this information?
The information is available under the satellite accounts part of the BEA website, which is www.bea.gov. However, I find one of the easiest ways to find the information on our website is by Googling BEA and ORSA, BEA and ORSA, and Google usually does a pretty good job of pulling it up as the first result.
Excellent. And are these tables, like the ones that you showed, are those available, or what is available on the website specifically?
So the website has the data in spreadsheet format, so in Excel format. So the data are downloadable. Some of the slides I have up here, like the state level heat map with the quintiles of employment, are things that we've produced for the website, but the heat map is not on the website. All of the data is available. So for example, on the slide that I had, slide 19, which was the state level data that we had for conventional activities by share, the shares can be calculated from the actual numbers that are downloadable. So you would just have to divide the state level number by the total number for the state activity value by the total for the state to calculate these shares. So all of these data are publicly available. You might have to do a little bit of simple math to calculate something that you see on the slide. And if somebody is having trouble with that, anybody who would like assistance trying to figure out how we calculated something is also free to contact me either by email or by phone, and we can walk through that.
Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and unmute the line and see if we have any questions.
The conference has been unmuted.
All right. Don't be shy. Anyone have any questions on this data? All right. I think that means you did an excellent job explaining it. Everyone completely understands, and we're in a great spot. That's what I'm going to go with. So thank you all for your participation today. We did record the webinar, so it will be available soon for you to share with any colleagues who may not have been able to join us today. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.